Beaten a polygraph? Have you ever lied?
No. I've had a lot of inconclusive. You do not want to completely rely on the polygraph. I've seen it fail miserably. It can be beaten if you feel no difference between right and wrong.
There's all of your stabilizing muscles that don't always fire when you do traditional free weights. So as I'm pushing harder, the machine is intuitively giving me more weight.
It's been a tough couple of years. The lockdowns, the malaise, all the election nonsense. That we lose Trump, we get this guy who's half asleep and destroying the world. And it's just been, and one of the worst aspects of it all was the disappearance of Lauren Southern. I always really loved watching Lauren's commentary, and then she made the fair enough decision to go off, start a family, pull back a little bit from public life. I understand she did what she had to do. Well, you know what? She's back. She is back, and she has a unique perspective because she left one hellscape in the Anglosphere, Canada, America's hat, for apparently another one, which is still locked down, even down under. Lauren, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I was really enjoying my hiatus, my family, all of it, but you guys really dropped the ball. Things have just gone sideways the last year and a bit.
And you felt much like Pacino in Godfather Part 3. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Hooah! And he did. And so it's gone really crazy. I want your perspective on two stories that I think Americans don't really know very much about. I don't even know where to begin. Let's begin at America's hat, your former country. They're burning down churches all throughout Canada. And no one's really talking about it.
Yeah, other than a brief mention from Trudeau weeks after it started happening. And we're not talking about just one or two churches here. We're talking about dozens of organized arson and vandalism attacks against churches. One evening, there were 10 attacks against churches in one province.
What the fuck?
And all this is happening because there have been mass graves that were discovered of Indigenous people in Canada. Now, we don't actually have much information on these mass graves. We've just found graves. We haven't investigated why they were there, whether they occurred because there was a disease outbreak. In fact, one of the mass graves found in British Columbia, which resulted in churches being attacked, was discovered to just be an overgrown graveyard that they knew was a graveyard, but the media just went off with it. Mass grave, this is a genocide, with no further investigation or professionals looking into it. And of course, people are saying that these attacks are justified. This is revenge against the Catholic Church, who ran residential schools that Indigenous people went to in the 1800s and earlier 1900s to essentially assimilate them to the English culture when they came over. I don't think the residential schools were a good thing, but hate crimes today, the right reaction to hate crimes 100 years ago, 50 years ago?
I want to pause you there just for people, because I'm not particularly familiar with this either. So there were these residential schools that were largely run by the church to assimilate the Native American, not Native American, the Native Canadians, the Indigenous First Peoples, to the dominant Canadian culture. And so I understand that, by the way, in principle. I'm not even opposed to assimilation in principle. If you're going to have a country, you need people to assimilate into that country. But this is somewhat controversial because what? Because of First Nation sovereignty and the Canadians stole our land? Is that the argument?
Well, the idea that they were forcing them out of their traditional cultures. And of course, there was abuse also found at some of these residential schools, whether it be sexual or physical abuse, but also something that should really be understood by people jumping up and down about this is most boarding schools at that time in history were rife with abuse,
right,
no matter who was going there. I mean, I was just reading Surprised by Joy by C.S. Lewis, and he went to a really wealthy boarding school where he talks about abuse occurring, but
yeah.
I mean, he was a bit too pale for us to care about that, right? And yeah, so people are burning down churches as revenge, and the shocking part, too, is some of these churches aren't even like Anglo-Catholic churches. A lot of them are on residential indigenous land. So they're actually indigenous churches. So not only did some of these people have to be descendants of family members who were in residential schools, but now they have woke people today burning their churches down to try to, I don't know, save them from past. No sense. It makes no sense. Liberals all over Twitter saying they love.
So you have the sort of pro-native Canadian First Peoples arson against the churches. At the same time, you've got the government going in because of the COVID police, shutting down churches, shutting down services. There was a very famous latest Polish-Canadian pastor, Paweł Pawlowski was his name? Or no, Arthur Pawlowski.
Polish last names.
Yes, no, he was tremendous, and he yelled, he said, "Get out, you Gestapo."
Out of this property, you Nazis! Out! Out! Gestapo is not allowed here!
And there are now suggestions that religious freedom in Canada and the ability to practice Christianity is being threatened as it is in other nefarious countries like communist China, for instance. So you've got this threat, and I can't help but notice, no matter who the radicals are, whether they're radical indigenous activists, whether they're radical leftists in the government, whether it's the Jacobins, whether it's the communists, they always seem to go after the churches throughout history. What's that about?
Cases are actually white people claiming they stand up for the indigenous. There have been videos that have come out, and it's like 22-year-old white women, privileged, attacking these
It always
churches,
is, isn't it?
saying they stand for the indigenous people, who are actually the chiefs in Canada are begging people to stop this, but the white kids have to stand up for them and save the day by burning down their churches, of course. But yeah, it's this attack against Christianity, because Christianity is the antithesis of everything they stand for, in my opinion. They stand for absolutely no restrictions on personal desire, no morality to constrict what we want to do, no matter how sinful or how harmful to other people. They stand for cancel culture, so that people should just be cut off from society, cut out, irredeemable. Christ and redemption is quite literally the antithesis of cancel culture.
Good point.
And they can't have that. They need conservatives, they need Christians, they need these people to be irredeemable, separate from them, so that they can be seen as the saints and the heroes. They are the good ones fighting against the irredeemable Nazis in our society. And also, they're out of Nazis. I mean, I'm sure they exist somewhere, but they're in swamps in Alabama and they don't have any power in society, so they keep having to find new things to label the ultimate enemy. And right now, that is the church, and it is the perfect enemy because it is the one thing that is a mirror to their immorality and a mirror to the wrongdoing they have been inflicting on the West.
It's a great point, and I've long seen this radical leftism as just an inversion of Christianity throughout, even up to its ultimate sacrament, which is abortion, which I think it was Peter Kraft who made the point, even uses the language of the Eucharist, "This is my body," as a way to defend this antithesis. of the gospel, in the destruction of the baby. This is my body, this is my choice. So I certainly see that inversion. I do have to correct you, though, when you say that there are only a few Nazis running around Alabama. That's not. There are very many Nazis. They all work for the FBI. They're all informants. They're just feds, just fed Nazis, spying on other fed Nazis. So it's a totally contrived issue. But there are many of them running around, and so you've got this problem in Canada, obviously part of the Anglosphere, and you fled. You fled Canada wisely, I think, and now you're down under. You're about as far away from Canada as one can possibly get. I always thought Australia was a good, virile, tough, manly culture, but you inform me the lockdowns there are just as bad as they are anywhere else.
Oh, Australia is a lovely country, but
But Australia was colonized by like the worst and worst of Europe. They sent like the scourge of their populations down to Europe. I mean, down to Australia as fucking punishment. We don't like you. Go live with the Aborigines. But Australia is weird though, because they've been had like gun bans since the 90s. I think like the early 90s. Like their gun violence is really low. That's one country I don't really know too much about, like with their current politics and shit. Australia. Motherfuckers, everybody just thinking fucking kangaroos and wallabies, I guess. I don't know.
at the absolute worst time, apparently. I thought I would be riding crocodiles and fighting off giant spiders, but I've just been locked in my house the entire time.
See? Even a Canadian had the same perception. I thought I was going to be riding crocodiles and fighting spiders. I don't know, Australia just has like this weird, all these weird stereotypes about it, but yeah, as far as how they move in global politics right now, a lot of their national policies and shit, I don't really know. Australia be quiet as shit, really. Alright. What are we working on? We were working on yeah, there's a good chance I may take this painting off the easel because I don't think there's too much more to do to it. I may add a little bit more highlights here and there, but I'm feeling kind of pleased with this piece.
Because yeah, there are some of the worst restrictions in the world here in Australia. We're in the 700 lockdown at the moment. All the states not allowed to leave your house unless you have to go buy essential goods, and even so, it's only one person at a time. Just today, they banned browsing stores. So if you need to just grab some food and you don't need mayonnaise for that food, you're not allowed to go down the mayonnaise aisle. That is illegal at the moment. Only 10 people are allowed at a funeral at the moment. You can't travel interstate. It's masks everywhere when you go out. You know, we've even had restrictions for the times you can go out. So, like, you can only leave your house from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. in Victoria. Of course, COVID is far more dangerous in...
Are the color cartridges in your printer ready for another school year? What's cyan mean? It means cyan or honor roll.
in the middle of the night. We know this.
It gets much worse. There's no question about it. It obviously gets worse in the middle of the night, which I should note is when you were talking to me right now because of this time difference. Yeah, a young mother, we are such sadists here at the Daily Wire that we're having you wake up in the middle of the night, but greatly appreciate it because I think there were a lot of people who believed that the COVID lockdowns were all just about getting Trump out, and I still largely think that was true. But as a result, they believed that once Trump was gone, once the big bad guy was kicked out of the Oval Office, then
Everybody, that's what people assume. Like, oh, we'll get this shit together if we can just get Trump out. That's not the case. That's clearly not the case. So now everybody has to really question, like, was Trump the issue? Was he the problem? And more people are realizing, like, yo, the dude was doing more good than everybody wanted to admit, yo. Once again, Trump wasn't a career politician, man. You get these career politicians up in there, and they gonna do the same shit they've been doing for 35 years. Nothing. Nothing. Yo, Biden just gave the motherfucking Pentagon another 25, what it was, million? A billion? $25 billion to their budget? That's some dumb shit. Like, like the Pentagon needs more funds. Like, come on, man. I didn't know it was that bad in Australia. That shit crazy, yo. It's still like that currently. I don't know. This whole shutting down of countries, all the economies and everything. Man, look, man. That shit just sound like some 1984 shit to me, really. You know what I'm saying? That shit is all. That shit just sound like some Orwellian type shit just to see how much control they can have over us. And then when the narrative change, down the fucking tube the information goes, never to be seen again. You know what I'm saying? Delete that word from the vocabulary. We don't say that shit no more. Global warming? No, it's climate change. Shell shock? No, it's fucking post-traumatic stress syndrome. You know, change the words, change the language. Michael Knowles has a book called Controlling Words or something like that, or Speechless, Controlling Words. I might have to order his book, yo. Because as long as you can control the narrative and control the language, man, control people's minds. Oh, boy, boy, boy. And it's gonna come back, yo. Here, all those same lockdowns that she's talking about that are still being implemented in Australia will return here. This was just phase 1, yo. And everybody already knew this shit, though. Or you should have known it because they already predict these scenarios. And they give you all these science fiction movies to desensitize you to shit like this in your entertainment. So when it happens, it's just like, oh, just listen to the government. That's how we're going to survive. Just listen to the government. Right.
Would go away. I started to question that as the election got closer because I thought, this was a big power grab, and people don't generally like to give up political power once they have taken it. So what's going to happen? We are now in the longest 15 days in recorded history. We still apparently haven't slowed the spread. We're going to be slowing it for a long time. What is the end game here? Are we just living in mask world for the rest of our lives?
Oh, I have been asking this question for a long time, especially if you look at the
Nope. The end game is mass vaccinations. You want to go down? Here. You can go down. The end game is mass vaccinations for everyone. Don't really know what this shit is going to do in the long run. Once again, man, I do believe in population control. At the very least, there are certain programs from the top down that are designed to trying to stabilize the population, at least, you know, at the most extreme. There's population reduction agendas that are being implemented at using soft kill tactics, because you just can't wipe out mass, you know, populations of people all at once. So you just do some type of soft kill where you slowly poison the water, you slowly poison the air, you slowly poison the food, you poison the medicines, and then if you can like constantly inject people with whatever throughout their life and destroy their immune systems, make them more docile, and then you can like engineer a whole different individual, you know. Yeah, but this shit is gonna be, if you look at China, and they have like a social score on how good of a citizen you are, and they like monitor everything you do, like if you litter, or if you jaywalk, or if you know, pay your bills on time, if you speed in traffic, like, and everything gets a point. And if you do anything that's out of the social norm, you decrease in social credit scores, where you may not be able to rent houses in certain areas or travel to certain destinations. And Black Mirror made a really, really good episode depicting a reality like that, where you just had to be this, what society would deem as a perfect person, in order for you to move up in society. And like, I think we're definitely on the way to implementing like this social score amongst Americans, starting with like, are you vaccinated? And now it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? You know? I don't know. I haven't been vaccinated for anything in years. Well, that's a lie. So, I did get a TB shot a couple years ago, but that was forced on me. Like, there was no way around. I couldn't do anything around that shit, yeah. Like, that shit was forced on me. And I don't like that. I don't like you forcing shit on me. But if everybody take a knee and succumb to this vaccination shit, yo, ain't no telling what else they gonna do after this shit. And if you don't take the vaccine, they about to make life hell for your ass, yo. That shit about to be hell. You ain't gonna hardly be able to do nothing, bro. I'm telling you, yo, they gonna restrict movement. I can already see somehow you ain't gonna be able to get your driving license renewed. Oh, you gotta renew your license this year in order to keep your driving privileges? They're gonna ask you that question, yo. God, boy, I feel that shit coming so bad, yo. You wanna vote? Oh, you gotta renew your voter's registration? Bruh. Are you vaccinated? Watch. you can already see that shit, bro. Like airplanes, you can't leave this country. You got a passport. I don't give a fuck about your passport. Have you had your COVID vaccine? In here talking these conspiracies. Yo, but watch, that shit is coming, yo. They gonna restrict movement within this nation, without this nation, yo. This shit gonna be crazy, yo. And then you really gonna see like who the fucking highways are made for, yo. If you ain't vaccinated, you can't even travel on the highway. That shit is off limits to you. And then I'm waiting to see. Yo, motherfuckers been talking about a national ID card. Bro, how easy it is to, see, all the conspiracies come true eventually, because it's not theories, yo, because motherfuckers be having some evidence. And then they state this shit themselves, that they want to push towards a national ID card, and they make it make sense because we need an extra layer of security for our citizens to combat illegal immigration, terrorism, with people acquiring fake IDs. And so there needs to be some type of national ID card that's more than your state ID. It's like in between your state ID and a passport, you know. And so we need just another layer. So and they were back in the day, and this was over 10 years ago. They were saying, we should have like an ID card with your social security and a fingerprint on that shit, yo. And they were saying they're gonna fingerprint you and have your fingerprints at ready and your social at ready with the national ID card. And if you don't have that shit, you can't even get on the airplane and travel inside the country. You can't fly from New York to California. You can't get on the plane because you don't have your ID. I see you got a state ID from New York, but where's your national ID card? You don't got that? You ain't got your COVID vaccine? Where your vaccine card? Because that should be attached to your national ID. No? You can't get on this flight then. Alex Jones used to call that shit prison planet. Where you think you free, you just a free range chicken, nigga. You can walk all around this bitch as far as you want, but you not free. You a free range chicken. A prison planet, yo. Where everybody in prison, nigga. I'm telling you, once they're able to restrict movement, the motherfuckers can't travel like they want to. And then after that, in the next fucking 100 years, they're already gonna have like smart cities. A lot of the fucking motherfuckers over there in the Middle East building these fucking smart cities. So they just gonna keep motherfuckers locked inside the fucking cities. Let all nature grow back, yo. Reduce the population. It's a whole agenda behind this shit. And I can't believe, like, I'm seeing, like, the very first phases of this shit. We got an ugly future if motherfuckers don't get this shit together real quick and stop letting everybody fall to the goddamn government for some dumb shit, yo. We gonna have an ugly ass future, yo. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't claim eminent domain like some authorities can. And even if you do purchase a piece of land somewhere, you better pay your taxes, and then you just can't build on it how you want. You gotta go by codes and get inspectors and all kind of shit, man. Ain't nobody free to do nothing, really, bro. Ain't nobody really free to do shit, man. Motherfucking a prison planet, yo. Don't be a sheeple, people. Don't be a sheeple. Don't fall for it. You know what I'm saying? And once again, I'm so torn on this whole COVID shit because me personally, I don't know anyone who's died from this shit, yo. But then you hear people who say they've had it. And then I know people who say they know people personally who have died from this shit, yo. And so it's like, what is this thing out there that's killing people that they're calling COVID? I'm just assuming there is something, you know. And everybody says there is, but I still have to assume it because I don't know nobody who ever caught COVID. You know, I ain't never seen nobody come up like with a paper like, yo, man, they told me I tested positive for COVID. Once again, I've only heard people who say they know people who caught COVID. And then now we got this report that comes out that says some of these tests were 90% like fucked up, yo, and they giving false positive 90% of the time, giving a false positive. Now they had to pull those tests from the market. And that's what these old fucking stories say, yo. Oh my God.
And 50% is a step towards that. And there's a reason why they're doing all of this. There's a reason why they're in a hurry. There's a reason for this insanity. And when he was explaining this, then he said that they have a name for this plan. This project has got a name. And I said, well, what is this name? He said, it is called the Anglo-Saxon Mission. The Anglo-Saxon Mission. Now, I'd heard that before. It was something historical, I think, to do with it. And not only because of the war or the plague, but because, as many of you watching this will understand, the infrastructure goes down in situations like this. This meeting were laughing about this. They said, China will catch a cold. Those were their words. China will catch a cold. And they were laughing about that biological weapons are released on China. You heard this being discussed in this meeting.
Biological weapons? Hold on, what did he say?
Now, during the time of the ceasefire, everyone's shocked, everyone's frightened, everyone's really terrified about where this is going to go. There are all kinds of heavy controls over populations everywhere. And then the next thing that happens in this
What's the next thing that happens?
Is that biological weapons are released on China.
Biological weapons are released on China.
In this meeting, they will release a flu-like virus.
What?
That will be genetically targeted against the Chinese population. It's racially targeted against the Chinese people. It's designed to spread like wildfire and to knock out a large number of the Chinese people. And these people in this meeting were laughing about this. They said, China will catch a cold. Those were their words. China will catch a cold. And they were laughing about the fact that these biological weapons will wreak havoc among the Chinese population. And after that, then what effectively will be a kind of plague will actually spread right across the world to the west as well. Our source was not clear whether this was a Chinese retaliation. And in this rollout of this crazy scenario, where it is intended that there will be a limited nuclear exchange in the Middle East, the idea is that as the world looks upon this with horror, then they will demand from their governments that there are heavy controls over travel, over communication, over people who meet, over people who protest in the streets. They want to make sure that they don't have crazy bombing. And in this rollout of this crazy scenario, where it is intended that there will be a limited nuclear exchange in the Middle East, the idea is that as the world looks upon this with horror, then they will demand from their governments that there are heavy controls over travel, over communication, over people who meet, over people who protest in the streets. They want to make sure that they don't have crazy bombers on aeroplanes, crazy bombers at the shopping malls. They want to make sure, and because people will be driven into fear by this, they'll request and demand and insist on heavy controls from their governments, which will be justified. And this is where you're going to kind of get the martial law situation in all the Western countries. It's intended as a justification. All of this is just the start of something, because this story gets much bigger, and it's pretty horrifying. And if watching this now you're feeling a little bit shocked, this is how I was feeling when I heard this information, and this is how our source was feeling when he was hearing this information in his meetings. This is just the beginning. Now, during the time of the ceasefire, everyone's shocked, everyone's frightened, everyone's really terrified about where this is going to go. There are all kinds of heavy controls over populations everywhere. And then the next thing that happens in this chess game that's being played is that biological weapons are released on China. You heard this being discussed in this meeting. They will release a flu-like virus that will be genetically targeted against the Chinese population. It's racially targeted against the Chinese people. It's designed to spread like wildfire and to knock out a large number of the Chinese people. And these people in this meeting were laughing about this. They said, China will catch a cold. Those were their words. China will catch a cold. And they were laughing about the fact that these biological weapons will wreak havoc among the Chinese population. And after that, then what effectively will be a kind of plague will actually spread right across the world to the West as well. Our source was not clear whether this was a Chinese retaliation or whether the thing would just spread out of control in the way that it would be very understandable if it did, whether it's racially targeted or not, these things actually will be attained. So now you've got a situation where there's been a limited nuclear war in the Middle East. There's a pandemic that really is sweeping across the world and really is killing people very visibly. And you've got this
Alright, so this was recorded in 2010, but the video, in the beginning of the video, the guy says that this conversation comes from 2008. So if I post a clip of that on my Facebook, I wonder if it will get a fact check notification or something, because it talks about a biological weapon that is released in China that spreads around the world and becomes a global pandemic. Yo. That's funny. I mean, when you think about it, man, it's like, well, uh, and it would have flu-like symptoms, and they said that China would catch a cold, and it's like, wow, that's I mean, that sounds vaguely familiar. It sounds vaguely familiar to something I can't really place my finger on it, but man, a flu-like virus from China that spreads around the globe and becomes a pandemic. Damn, that shit sounds. And when did you say this? In 2010. Who was in this meeting talking about what? Oh, oh damn. Yo, what up, bro? And here on this conspiracy tip, yo, I'm trying to see, I'm really trying to see if there is anything else I could do. I mean, I could work in this painting for another 37 hours if I wanted to, but would I make it better? You know, would it be any better if I continued to work on it? But this, I think the skin tones are pretty nice. I mean, probably do a little more in the wood grain, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, wait a minute, Case. I'm just leaving that part out. I am leaving something out, yo. You can see her tattoo. I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah, you can clearly see her tattoo. Okay, so I gotta do that part. Alright, we do that tattoo, then we're done. Let's see. tattoo. I guess I gotta grab a pencil. A sharp pencil. Yeah, grab my pencil, see? Yeah. Don't do that. Alright, so. Let's see. Ha 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 ha. Alright, so that's gonna be something in like that. Okay, alright. Alright. So now we're gonna need some blue, and the blue that I choose. The blue that I choose will be, I guess I may go with some ultramarine. That's kind of like purplish. Yeah, let me do I'll probably do ultramarine and cobalt. I be trying so hard not to use Prussian blue, man, but hey, that Prussian just works for everything. Let me see. I guess I am gonna have to use some Prussian. So I'm gonna use Prussian blue. I'm gonna use Prussian blue and ultramarine blue. Alright, my bad. Just got a message from the homie. PlayStation message. Dude over there playing some Mortal Kombat and got a goddamn friendship, Joe. He just fucking screenshot that shit. Yo, the fatalities, the babalities, the friendships. I don't know, man. I never really Mortal Kombat, man. Never really got into that shit, yo. The two fighting games that I really ever got into were Virtual Fighter. That was the first one. Cause I played like Virtual Fighter 1 and 2. I was a Sega junkie, yo. And then once I got on the PlayStation, PlayStation had this game called Soul Calibur. Yo, that was my shit, yo. I never could get good in like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, so I just kind of strayed away from those games. Everybody used to talk so much shit when you play those games, yo. It's just like, oh my god, man. It's just a fucking game. But then I got on that Soul Calibur, bruh. It was a wrap. I done found my stride. I was busting heads in that shit. That shit, and there's this other shit called Beast something. And then it had like the fighters were human, and then your power up was like you turn to a certain animal, yo. And there's one dude here turned into a fucking wolf, but it's like a personified, like a human wolf, you know. Or goddamn, and one dude was a mole. There was a tiger, a kangaroo. There's one dude a rhino or some other animal, man. Like that shit was crazy. It was damn. I can't remember the name of that shit, yo. Like I say, you be fighting as a regular person, as a human, yo. Build your fucking power, next thing you know, motherfucking turn to a goddamn beast on your ass. That game, I don't know why they won't bring that one back. And that other, damn, I can't think of the names of none of these shits now. Duel or something, no, it's Stone. Something Stone, yo. Battlestone? I can't remember that shit either, yo. But there's this little, I think that was on like a Sega console too. That shit might have been on the Dreamcast or some shit, yo. But the fighting arena, like, it was like this 3D fighting arena, man. And you can run around the whole shit, yo, and pick up these fucking stones and start powering up and shit. That was the shit, yo. Yeah, I gotta Google this shit now. I can't. This shit is killing my brain. What's the name of that game? Okay, Power Stone and Bloody Roar. See, there go my man Boozy come through with the answers. Damn, bro, I about to Google the fuck out that shit, yo. Yo, the Bloody Roar, yo. That shit was so fucking good, bro. Oh man, Bloody Roar. I gotta see some gameplay real quick. Oh shit, and I'm gonna watch some Power Stone gameplay, yo. Oh my god, yo, what console was Power Stone on? Was that it? Was that on the Dreamcast? They made it all the way up to Bloody Roar 4. I swear I only remember like part 1 and part 2. I must have started playing some other shit. This was on the PS2. I kind of fell off even on the Soul Calibur series. They're like on what, 6 or something now. Yo, this shit is so hot, yo. Yo, Bloody Roar, bro. If you ain't never played that, you ain't old enough. You ain't even old enough to fuck with me, yo. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we've been playing video games for a long time. Hold on. Pause. Like, when did the first Bloody Roar come out, yo? Let's figure that shit out real quick. Yo, Bloody Roar was the first one, was released in July 7th, 1997. Bloody Roar 2 came out in 99, 3 came out in 2000, and Part 4 came out in 2003. And they had Bloody Roar Primal something in 2002, and Bloody Roar Extreme something in 2003. Yo, so they ain't made this game in almost 20 years now. But yeah, I remember Bloody Roar, the first one, yo. 1997, man. If y'all ain't been gaming that long, man, y'all might be kids. Cause that's how long I've been gaming, shit. Yeah, Dreamcast for sure, bro. Hell yeah. Like I said, I was Sega fanatic, bro. I did not choose Nintendo over Sega. Yo, I had the Genesis, the Saturn, the Dreamcast. I never had that Sega CD though. But yeah, I would always choose Sega over Nintendo, yo. And then it turned into Sony Microsoft, and I tried both of those, and now I choose Sony over Microsoft. I've had two Microsoft consoles. I had the 360 and I had the Xbox One. But right now, like with the new consoles, I got the PlayStation first. I may buy a Xbox if they can put out some solid ass content, yo. But I don't know. I'd rather go with Sony. But Dreamcast, Sega had the games back in the day, and I like Sonic over Mario, yo. To me, like, I get it, and Mario is so iconic and so I get it, I understand it, I really do. But for me, the fun factor, yo, was Sonic. The colors, the music, just the character, like I don't know, like that shit was more enjoyable for me to play, you know. And that's the only reason it failed. It was the first console that had uh fucking internet gaming capabilities, yo. It had a phone jack on that shit, yo. Way before most people had fucking internet. Like the fucking memory card that you can take out the controller, yo, like and kind of play little games, like yo. The Dreamcast was the fucking shit, son. And then Shamu, oh, I still remember playing Shamu on the Dreamcast. Oh my god, it was like breathtaking. I was like, how am I so lucky to even be playing this shit now, yo? Like, this game is so cool. Crazy Taxi, Shamu, Virtual Fighter, Sonic, Knights. Um, uh, the NASCAR game. Oh my God, the 2K games, yo. Oh my God, yo, that's the last time I played sports games on the Dreamcast. NFL 2K1 and NBA 2K. Like those are the last two games I ever played, yo. Like sports wise, like after they took that shit off, I was like, man, I don't even fuck with sports games no more, yo. But the NFL 2K1 was the fucking shit, son. And it was just something about that game, cause even then, like once again, I've never watched sports, yo. Never watched sports. Don't really like sports. But everybody was like, "Oh man, you should get a game for the Dreamcast, man. Get a sports game." I got that shit just to play with the homies and shit. I would be busting their ass in that shit though. And the graphics was like way ahead of its time, yo. Like way ahead of its time, yo. That Dreamcast was a crazy machine, yo. House of the Dead with the light gun. That's a classic. I can't even deny that. That's a classic. And your dad, yo, that's cause your dad wanted the Nintendo. You think about it, for real, for real. Think about it. If your kid want whichever one, you can be like, nigga, I'm gonna get this one. Cause when you not playing it, I'm playing it, nigga. He talking about he want the damn Sega. Ain't nobody buying no Sega. Well, he say he want the Sega. Man, we getting Nintendo, man. Screw that shit, man. Mario, bro. I'm getting Mario. He don't know no better. I gotta make the wise decision for him. Cause he about to go the wrong route with Sonic the Hedgehog. See? That's how parents influence kids, man. Mm. Hold on, let me see a little bit of this real quick. I ain't get mine on release date. Cause even, man, shit, in the 90s, I was already working. Like, I started working, I was 14. So, uh, my cousin had the Nintendo, and somehow he got another Nintendo, then he gave me one. He gave me his old Nintendo. So that was the first joint I had. And then, one of my homeboys, he had a Sega, yo. And once I played the Sega, I just liked that shit better than Nintendo, yo. So even as a kid, yo, I used to fucking hustle up. So my uncle helped me get the Sega. I cut grass and shit. And then, hell, by the time I got a job, yo, I was just like buying my own shit. Just doing little odds and ends and saving my fucking allowances and shit. Just and buying my own shit, yo. And then I got my first real job when I was 14. And I just always just, I don't know. That's why I know, like I'll never stop fucking gaming, yo. I know one of my aunts went half with me on my fucking on my Sega Saturn. I remember that, cause that was kind of like a Christmas present one year. Cause she was like, "Oh, what you want for Christmas?" And I want the new Sega. Boy, that thing cost so much. I go half, yo. Just good. Hey, I pay half of that shit. That's how I got my goddamn Saturn though. Man, them shits wasn't cheap back in the day, bro. I mean, I fucking walked when the PlayStation 1 came out. I remember that day good as shit, yo. I fucking walked to goddamn Walmart, yo. That shit was like 2 miles, 3 miles away. And I'm about to go get me. My girl was like, "Where you going?" I'm about to go to Walmart. You about to walk all the way to Walmart? Yep. Yo, and my little cousin walked with me too. And my little cousin wanted to go with me. I'm like, fuck that, yo. About to go grab this new game real quick. Yo. Hey, stand in line all day trying to get that shit, bro. That when that Dreamcast came out, man, that shit was real popular, yo. Yeah, but lose all your coins, John. That shit do fuck you up. At the same time, man, that shit make you run them levels so many times, yo, and get that shit perfected, and you won't never get hit by shit. I ain't gonna lie, yo, on the all the additions they added to Astrobots. Yo, I actually play that shit now, yo. Like whatever they got on the PS4, man, the little Astrobot shit, man, I don't fuck with that shit. But on the PS5, it's like true legit like levels. My girl was like, "Oh, you be on that game all the fucking time, yo. You need to teach me how to play that shit. You need to find an easy game for me to learn how to play." And so, like, I wasn't even playing that shit, but I figured, like, man, Astro Bot should be easy enough for anybody to play. Start playing that shit. Oh man, that shit. Hey, it got some little hard spots in that shit, yo. That shit's still hella fun though. Like, I need something new to play. I ain't even gonna lie, yo. Oh, it's the first of the month. Wake up, wake up, wake up, Cassia Jackson. Come on. Yo, what new games come out today? Whoever got PS Plus, yo. The first Tuesday of the month. The first Tuesday of the month, we get some free games for Frizzle. know I gotta play that. Well, I don't know. Every time they give us free games, man, I ain't gonna lie, yo. I rarely download both games. Most of the time, I'll just put both of them shits in my library and just let them sit there, just to say I got it. If I ever get bored enough to want to play that shit. But like they gave us The Plague and something else last month. Them shits was like, alright, but every once in a while they give you something that's dope to play. They gave us that Street Fighter for free, yo. That last Street Fighter, I played that for a minute. I did the wrong part that way. Shit. Plant vs. Zombies? Always heard about that little game. It had that like little cute animation style to it. And a tennis game? I don't know, man. I guess I have to download the tennis game. I'm gonna pick Serena Williams or whoever, and they get that shit online. I'm coming in, they busting heads on some tennis shit. Hope I can customize my character with some New Balance. Come on the tennis court, my New Balance. Wow, that shit loud as hell, bro. Calm down. Haha. Yeah.
helps make your writing clear and
Dreamcast. Damn, that shit was a hot ass concert. I had my shit for as long as I could, yo. Then, damn, how I lost my Dreamcast, yo. Damn. Oh, you know what? I think
In the 19th century,
I had a Dreamcast and a PlayStation at the same time, yo. I let this nigga borrow my Dreamcast, and then I wound up moving and never got my Dreamcast back, yo.
Totalitarian military lockdown in all the governments in the Western world because everyone's going to be
UK right now that have some of the highest vaccination rates worldwide. I think they're well over half the population vaccinated at the moment, and they're going through a COVID spike. So we know, we've been informed, you still have to wear a mask. We still have to do these lockdowns.
I was
even when you're
watching
vaccinated.
Power Stone.
Because
I was watching some Power Stone just now. Yo, Ready to Rumble. That was another one. Oh, damn. How I forget about that one, yo? That was like their version of Punch Out. Dreamcast had a nice roster, yo. Like I said, it was kind of expensive, the console, and then, like I said, it had a lot of features that people weren't even ready for, because, honestly, I didn't play an online game until PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 2 or 3. PlayStation 3. No. Yeah. PlayStation 3. Because I was playing MAG on PS3, and that was literally like the first online shooter that I ever played. And so I've heard of online games before, but even I own the Dreamcast, and for some reason I can't remember ever having a conversation with someone about, oh, I should play this game online, or do you know about this internet connection, or like, I don't even remember having those conversations, even though I owned a fucking Dreamcast. Like, 'cause I didn't have internet for shit. I ain't had internet till I moved out and got internet, nigga. To Dead Space 2. Wow. I remember Dead Space 1. That was a fucking badass game. I remember for some reason not liking Dead Space 2 as much, and I'm pretty sure I've never played that online. One game that I love is the Metal Gear Solid series, but I never really liked their online modes. The Uncharted series, love playing Nathan Drake. Don't I don't like playing their online so much. I love Fallout and Elder Scrolls. I do not like their online versions of their games. Even Grand Theft Auto. Love that fucking series. I don't like the online version. But Dead Space. Who made Dead Space? That was a damn. What studio that came out of? 'Cause that was a really, really, really good game. Especially how they implemented the health bar, like right on his suit. Like, damn, I didn't even anybody think of that shit before, man? Like, oh, that's sweet, son. And you got your ammo as a digital screen on your gun. Like, this is nice. I like this setup here.
still get COVID when you're vaccinated. So, yeah, I guess we're doing this forever. I guess this is the forever lockdown. And you know what? If it does get to a point where they realize, okay, we're still having this spread with over half the population vaccinated,
They're gonna remake Dead Space? Do it. Do it. I'm about to see if I can see this now. Ooh, shit. Dead Space remake. What the fuck? Bro. I would play a remake to Dead Space, yo. Yeah, I think I would do that. Cause that shit was creepy, yo. A space drama, dark and alone. Oh my god. And then the little baby aliens. Ugh. Yo, games are just like movies, yo. You gotta bring them shits back. You gotta bring them shits back for a different generation, yo. Wow. Wow, they about to remake Dead Space. You know what they should remake? Okay, what's the other one where... Fuck. You're like on an ice planet with bugs? Damn, what the fuck that shit was. And you can get inside the mech suit sometimes. Something planet. Fuck. Y'all know what I'm talking about though, man. Oh yeah. Somebody just even watching somebody play that shit is like, yo. I'm telling you. The other game though, man. Like, you're on this fucking... And they made like a couple of installments to that one, but the first one was the best one still.
Honestly, we should lose him. We got distracted.
Honestly, we've been together for a while, so.
Dead Space is back with a remake of the beloved 2008 original currently in production. And while the series has remained dormant for years, the developers at EA Motive are hoping to bring the nightmares of Isaac's journey aboard the Ishimura back to life, using the latest console technology to create a stunning new take on the adventure. Ahead of its reveal, IGN spoke to two leads on the project about why the team chose to remake the original, how they're staying faithful to that visceral classic while injecting some new life into it, and the team's unique approach to involving fans in the game's development.
Lost Planet. (2013) was the last time they did a Lost Planet.
rebuilding completely the game, but in Frostbite, in the new engine. So the original game was made in a really old engine. So we have all the original assets. So for example, as level design, the foundation currently of the game, on which now we're iterating, is we started with the original level design collisions of the original Dead Space. And what's funny in that actually is that you can see also some of the iterations that were made prior to ship by the team. Like in the first chapter, you can see some corridors that they wanted to do first in a certain way, and then you can understand why they changed it for technical constraint or something. So we also have that type of history in the data that is really interesting. But then in terms of visual, sound, gameplay, everything, we are rebuilding all of those assets. We are not porting them. It's not appraising the texture or adding more pieces, more polygons to the model. It's really rebuilding all those elements, shooting all the animations, etc. Then there are a couple of elements on which we want to iterate and try to add improvements to it. Whether it's on the horror, on the immersion, or even on the gameplay, there are elements that we don't want to change the experience. We really want to stay true to that experience, and that's why we've started to work with some passionate people in the community to make sure that we still nail that experience, that it's Dead Space. Then with stuff like with the really fast SSDs that we have currently with the new generation, okay, that's probably really interesting things that we can do in terms of creating a more immersive Ishimura, or other elements like, for example, taking inspiration in what comes after what they did, let's say, on Dead Space 2 with the zero gravity and how you move around in zero gravity compared to Dead Space 1. That's definitely something that is really interesting to us and that we're playing with, and that's how we are approaching changes to the original, is through the lens of those improvements we want to make.
Well, clearly, next generations of console enable us to have ray trace reflection and volumetric effects, or even fluid simulation for these effects. 3D audio with understanding where the sound comes from, having the right propagation in the corridors, making it come from the vents above you or behind you. These are all things that we'll be able to expand on to increase, again, on the level of immersion and make sure that, like Roman said, the Ishimura is alive. It's dying, but it's still alive, and it has a voice. And throughout your journey over the chapters of the game, you hear it progress. And that's the type of evolution that we want to make sure that the players notice when they play the game.
One thing for me that is really iconic of Dead Space, it's often, at least at the beginning of the game when they're playing a little bit with your senses, you get that whisper in your ear. That is constant. And that's pretty creepy and scary in the game. That now imagine with the current 3D audio technologies, how you will be constantly like, what the, it's that.
It's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about
all that vacation time I've been saving up. I'm about to use all of that. Where you going, man? I ain't going nowhere. I'm about to have a staycation. I'm about to stay my ass at home and play this game. See, I've been waiting for them to give us part 1 for free, yo. So that way I don't be so lost when I get part 2. So they said that was like one of the games for that generation of consoles. And so I definitely want to try it. Oh shit. Let me run to the restroom real quick. No, I never played Horizon, bro. Nope. Right? Oh shit. Like I said, I know a lot of people said it was like one of the best games on the PS4 here. I gotta. I mean, so that's the one thing too. Like, I watched a little bit of gameplay, but then I did find it interesting enough not to watch like the whole storyline and like to see like what happens, because apparently in some kind of future, somehow machines take over animal life or something. Was it something that humans did to cause that to happen? And I don't know, she started finding like a different kind of technology or something that kind of revealed what actually happened in their distant past. Like, so I mean, it does seem like a pretty interesting storyline. So I got the PS5, y'all. So I'm just waiting on good games to come out. That's all I need now. Something to play. I'm about to pre-order that Battlefield. You dig? Pre-order that Battlefield, and then I don't know. Like that's the only game I'm really waiting for right now. That's like the main game I'm waiting for right now is Battlefield. All right.
Weapons are released on China. You heard this being discussed. In this meeting, they will release a flu-like virus that will be genetically targeted against the Chinese population. It's racially targeted against the Chinese people. It's designed to spread like wildfire and to knock out a large number of the Chinese people.
All right. I gotta cook dinner tonight. I'm gonna make a beef brisket. So I'm about to. I need carrots and whatnot. No, I guess I won't start cooking right now because I don't feel like going to the store. But I can go get everything else prepped and ready for dinner, I guess. Guess I can get the meat season, get all the pans out. Alright. You know what? I might just go ahead and run to the store, get that shit over with. Fuck. Appreciate y'all chilling in the studio. Catch y'all next time. Peace.